Hey everyone, Coach Mo Fall here with another episode of Soul Powered Revolution for you. Why do I call this Soul Powered Revolution? Because I want everyone to have their own soul powered revolution, just like one of my amazing clients. I've been working with him for almost 7 years now. And yes, I did say him. DeVon Franklin was a Hollywood movie producer who was doing pretty well, but not feeling that he was in his genius zone and feeling that he was in his power. I've known DeVon for nearly 7 years and helped him come through many breakthroughs. But why I'm talking about him on this episode is that his new one man show that was live in New York City this past July is available on Audible January 29th. If wherever you're listening to this or watching this video or podcast, you'll maybe see a link around that you can link directly to that and hear the entire show. I believe it's about a 90-minute show. In this show, DeVon talks about his trajectory through his breakthrough and breakthroughs coming to his own truest self. The show is called Be True, and it's something that he literally has tattooed on his arm. I want to share with you a bit about DeVon and my coaching, which if you do the Audible uh, show, you're going to hear some of this story, and it's public already, so we might as well dive in because DeVon's trajectory is really a great way to understand coaching. I think sometimes when myself or another coach talks about our clients' successes, it's really easy for your filter system to go, yeah, but that couldn't be me. Yeah, but I don't think that's accessible to someone like me. Or the litany of ways that we toss the possibility out that we could be better than we are. Look, here's the thing. Your nervous system fights for your limitations because you are set up to protect yourself from dying. Your nervous system is wired to keep you away from threats. So if something is different, even if it's a possibility of better, you could still be perceiving it as a threat. This is one of the absolutely illogical things about how we as humans are wired. And here's the part that matters. Your nervous system does not just include the animalistic ways of threat defense. It doesn't just include feeling that something's not possible, therefore you disregard it or ridicule it or push it away. Your nervous system includes this big brain of yours that has evolved over thousands and thousands of years, that it has something called the prefrontal cortex, the material right behind your forehead, the most evolved part of your brain, helps us think through whether something is as perceived, whether something could possibly have some advantages to us, or it's something that we still need to categorize as a threat. Some neurologists consider the prefrontal cortex as the CEO of our nervous system. So it's in charge of really making the most important decisions. And if it says, yep, it's a threat, it'll deploy the primitive soldiers of our nervous system and go get it. If it's not a threat, it's going to have to then remobilize its response and de-escalate the troops. This is something that a lot of people don't really understand. And as a registered nurse from way back when, I've been studying the body for a long time. And I've been a coach for 12 plus years now. I've coached myself and I've gotten coached for over 25 years. I have a pretty strong insight in not only how the body works, how our neurology, our neurochemistry, our biology, our psychology, but also how humans get trapped in all of this machinery and don't allow for themselves to think of something greater. And most human beings who have gotten coached, who have had successes, have allowed this idea that something better is available to them. Even if you can't put your finger on what this better is, in order for you to lean into coaching or having someone help you, you have to have an element of knowing or perceiving or having some inspiration that, yeah, it could be better for me. And without that, you don't move forward. And that thing is what we would typically call hope. And I know there's been a ton of cliches about how hope is not a strategy, but you know what? Hope is a necessary ingredient in strategy. It may not be the only ingredient required, but it is absolutely an ingredient. There is no business plan that is put together for 5 years convincing people to invest in that business that doesn't have an ingredient of hope. And if all of the investors really heard what the business founder and CEO and all the people putting the slideshow together, the real truth is this is what we hope will happen. This is what we hope the marketplace will respond to. This is what we hope people will pay for this. It's not cool to say that word, but that's really what's going on. And hope is that main ingredient that has us go after things that are bigger and better than what we know today. And when we have hope big enough to carry us past what we know, the thing that's necessary next is courage. So when DeVon first heard my first video, it was on an old platform called Periscope. If you've been around for a while, maybe you remember it. And he said this video on Periscope was teed up to him right after he was listening to one of his favorite pastors speak on a particular day. And I was walking along the beach with an inspirational message, and it hit him like a lightning bolt. And he said, whatever you said hit me like, yeah, that's what I need. Now, DeVon is a Black man with a strong Christian foundation. He has preached in some of the biggest churches and Black churches around the country. He is in Hollywood. He's producing films. And so when he booked his call to talk to my team to see if we would accept him as a client, to see if there was the right fit, I happened to have been on vacation. So my team took the call and texted me within hours of that call. Hey, we've got a really interesting prospect here. This guy really needs coaching. He really wants to work with you. And as soon as I heard the he, I'm like, oh, that's not really what we do. I have positioned myself and fancied myself on my expertise in helping women up-level their careers. It's what I'm good at. It's what I know based on my own successful career. But I think DeVon felt an element and a resonance of truth. And the truth is that if you don't interiorly feel good about yourself, you're not going to have access to the best success that you can have. So when I returned from vacation, I picked up the phone and called him back, and I grilled him like a steak. I really wanted to make sure that he was going to be ready to do the work, to lean in, to be open and humble, to suspend disbelief. If I were to share something with him that might be different or outside of his idea of what the universe is all about, what his idea of God is all about. And as I'm explaining this to you, you might be starting to get a little defensive yourself. One of the things about my coaching and just coaching in general is that most coaches advance their clients' lives through creating an expanded idea of what's possible and then how to do it. So after DeVon agreed to like 50 stipulations I put on him, we got going with our one-on-one coaching. And it was pretty early in our coaching that I realized that he had a lot of constraints about what he felt was possible for him. And as he'll tell you in his Audible show, he grew up with a bit of a challenging childhood. And I don't want to tell you everything because I want you to download the Audible and listen to that and give him a little bit of business on the Audible show. That younger foundational element created a worldview and a sense of self that was at this point of his career stifling his growth. And this is a very common trajectory. And so he had been in therapy. He had tried this and that. He had written some books about his life and success. And on the surface, he was thriving, but inside, he was not feeling that way. So when you come to coaching, there's usually a disconnect between how you feel about yourself and what you want to express in the world. And that was the case with DeVon and the 2,000 plus other women who we've coached over the years in my soul powered career coaching, leadership, executive, etc. So I began working with DeVon. Every couple of weeks we would meet. I took him through some of my soul powered exercises. And through that revealing time together, he found out a few things about himself that he was misdirecting himself by limiting beliefs, false narratives, um, etc. So on and on we go, week by week, month by month. And there are some significant aspects that he has to come to terms with in order for him to get bigger, be on bigger stages, and have success. And some of that included the team members that he had hired to support him having a very high sense of getting things done. He didn't always surround himself with people who supported getting stuff done for him. He found himself filling the gaps of even people who he hired and worked for him. This is not an uncommon problem. And so, as these layers of his transformation happened, he found that he needed to start hiring people who were more supportive and more proactive in going forward and doing things, and him not telling them everything that had to be done. Being in a small entrepreneurial company myself, I totally understood that issue and that problem. And it's something that a lot of entrepreneurs and people with small businesses face and the challenges. And some of it has to do with some interior belief systems that we can't possibly find someone who's going to be that much better. I know this is tricky territory. It may happen as you are a professional woman hiring and firing and training and developing your teams. Perhaps there's this subconscious belief that you're never going to be able to hire someone who's really going to get it, who's really going to come with that extra level of skill and talent that you don't have to show them everything. There are those people out there, but the beginning process starts with you actually having a deep belief that that is possible. I know, and then coming into a visualization that those people can come into your locality, you can attract them into a proper job and a proper situation that's going to help and support you. But you have to change your idea of what's possible for you to hire and for you to have and how that feels for you. So if your normal feeling state is, I got to do everything, I always have to fill in the gaps, I always have to tell my team this, that, and the other thing. If that's your narrative, you are going to magnetize those types of people into your ecosystem. You have to change your narrative. I only hire people who have excessive talent that are ready to shine and are attracted to my work. They love working for me and working with me. And I can't believe how blessed I am that I have people on my team that are so talented and I get to help them express their best self. And I don't have to overdo to help them be successful. All of these things are belief systems that have to be embedded and integrated into your sense of the world and sense of self so that you can take action accordingly. Because if your subconscious does not have that deep of a belief system, you're not going to be able to hire the right people. And with DeVon, this was a situation that we visited a few times, and it's a continual thing for most of us who hire our own peoples and have small companies. DeVon has his own production company, and he requires having certain professionals helping support his work. And this was one of the layers that we had to move through. And eventually some other things we had to move through with his personal life and how that was going for him. And again, he'll tell you all about that on the Audible. And one of the things that is inherent in his journey, which is so normal for the clients who we coach, is that he kept wanting to have more impact, more influence, and a bigger income. And if you just shoot for the income, you have a less fertile vision for yourself. And although I'm all about income goals, I'm all about having goals and period. Matter of fact, one of my signature pieces as a coach is having developed something that we call an 8x8. It's 8 different areas of life combined with 8 different time frames over the year, so we don't get this lazy monthly. And it's a package of goal setting that includes the why, and it includes milestones. And there are things that are measurable when it comes to income, but it's hard to measure impact and influence. But how we have a proxy for that in the world of work is through title and through the scope of work that we are responsible for, and whether we're successful with that increased scope and increased responsibility. This is how we can calibrate a bigger expression of self. So when you have gifts and talents inside of you, given by your creator, it is up to you to make them better, to work on them, to hone those gifts, and then to express them to the highest possibility of your expression. That means you have to be completely congruent with your gifts, your skills, your talents, and the development that you have put toward being really good at your stuff. I have always had a sense of helping lift individuals. When I was a 10-year-old girl, I helped kids around the neighborhood not ride their bikes with training wheels, but to learn how to ride with no training wheels and to really express their full bicycling self. And I got so excited about that satisfaction and fulfillment of helping kids around the neighborhood doing that. When I remembered that that's a big part of who I am, I'm like, that is my thing. And so I got really good at developing that skill, that gift as a leader. And I was able to then lead bigger and bigger pieces of organizations and eventually leading a big organization. And then as I went, you know what? I want to help impact people beyond my organization. So I went into coaching and I said, I know how to develop people. I know how to build them up. Oh, let me get a little bit of coaching. Not little, but let me get some coaching expertise as well. So I can blend the coaching with what I know how to do to develop humans. And then I began developing that aspect. So here's the thing that you got to remember: your gifts, your skills, and your talents only get you so far. What really, really helps you feel satisfied is your ability to express that on a bigger playing field. It's why high school kids want to go play college basketball. It's why college basketball players want to go to the pros. We all have an innate sense of wanting to express ourselves at a higher level. And that is, by definition, a human being feeling satisfied, which is why it's so disappointing to not be able to get to the next level, which is why, as professional women, we have a few broken rungs because of how we're socialized to be women in the world. And those rungs get broken, and therefore we don't have satisfaction building our career up as well as our male colleagues. Did I just break that down in the best way you've ever heard? Good. So back to DeVon. So DeVon and I were working very closely over all of these years to help him express himself as a Hollywood producer and really get in his zone to doing the best work that he wanted. And along the way, he had his own production company. He had deals with some of the other big studios who basically had him under their tent, if you will, and paid him a bit of money every year to develop uh, projects so that they could develop movies together, and that the studio and he would develop a great movie and make money, and on we go. So if you're a producer with one of those deals and you don't have enough projects coming through your pipeline, it's not likely for a studio to keep your deal going. And this was something that always felt threatening to DeVon as he was moving along. So along the way of his personal life getting reorganized, his business life getting reorganized, he came into a huge growth spurt, which is typically identified as the dark night of the soul. I know, doesn't sound sexy at all. Sounds painful. And it is. You see, when we erase the scripts of what we've been living by, and we have been courageous to step into something more and better, There is a period of time, we want it to be as short as possible, that we don't have anything written on the script. It's blank. It's dark. It doesn't feel hopeful. And this takes that extra dose of courage to step into the unknown, to then write what you want on that board, to define who you are, to commit to how you want to live, to commit to your standards of both how you're going to be treated by others and how you're going to treat others, how you're going to live life, how far out are you playing yourself, how big are you willing to get. And you know what? Your creator is ready for it all. If you don't write bigness on your board, you've already set yourself up to not having bigness. If you stifle yourself with the big plan on your board and you don't have the courage to execute on it, I truly believe that that is what sin is all about. Because our Creator put inside of us a desire to express our gifts. No matter what that gift is, that is your mission in life, to express your gifts. Sometimes that's through work, sometimes it's through other avenues. But we all were born with this desire, this unflinching desire to express our gifts. And if we're frustrated with that, if we are not in alignment, if we're not congruent, if we let the world sort of beat us backwards, if we use substances and addictions to numb ourselves from the pain of not expressing ourselves, then we're not going to get it. And so most of my clients are guided toward this level of courage. And sometimes, and I've been coached for over 25 years, sometimes your coach has to have more belief in you than you might have in you at that moment. And this is where a great coach is so helpful, because a great coach will help see you, see your potential, see what's possible, see your brilliance, see your genius zone, and be able to help you put the pieces together and believe in yourself when you don't feel like you can. All humans are capable of more. Every single human is capable of more. Every single one. But those who have a hope for their future, those who have courage moving forward, and those who will take someone else's hand and help be guided through their dark moments are the ones who expand into the most fulfilling and satisfying aspect of themselves. And I'm going to tell you this, that was DeVon's trajectory with our coaching together. He had dark nights of the soul. He had deep moments of doubt of his choices and where he was going. And as a man of faith, he and I had to keep recalibrating his faith as he was going through this. Because when life doesn't seem like it's working out in the short term, when it seems like it's falling apart, it's really easy to not think that God is on your side. It's really easy not to believe in the greater universal possibilities that we all have access to as humans. It's super, super easy to doubt not only yourself, but your Creator. The source of all things is on your side. And if you don't believe it on your own, I encourage you to find someone who can help you believe it. Do not find people who agree with you that life is dark and hopeless and you're powerless and nothing else will change and it can't get better. Do not surround yourself with those people. As a matter of fact, run away from them as soon as you can. There's not only just good coaching and success theories about hanging out with people who are more expressed and more evolved than you, but also there's neuroscience coming through and quantum physics marrying up these theories that seem to be true, that are right now able to be judged through some scientific methods, that we track neurologically and energetically with people we hang out with. Yep. It's even been witnessed in mice and monkeys, of which we are not too distant relatives. So I celebrate today in this podcast all of my clients, but I particularly am celebrating the trajectory of success, courage, and hope that DeVon Franklin had for his life. And I am humbled by the fact that he has trusted me to help guide him. Now, DeVon, like many successful people, has had experts in different areas of his life guiding him through other areas. DeVon has had one of the best years of his life, marrying a woman who is a love of his life, who has a more satisfying way of loving him than his previous relationship. He has extended his idea of what's possible for him in Hollywood, being both behind the camera as a producer and in front of the camera as an actor. He's got a beautiful producing and acting relationship with Tyler Perry to do some of the best work that he's ever done. And I know that there's more for DeVon as he continues to step into the courage and the belief and the faith that his expression of self and his gifts and his talents of being a messenger of inspiration and faith for millions of people through his movies and through his acting and other talents, they will continue to inspire millions and millions of people. But he will not fulfill his destiny if he does not step forward ongoing with courage and a full sense of what his Creator has for him, and to feel worthy and blessed along the way that things will get better and better, and he will be more and more expressed, and he will in his heart carry a deeper and deeper abiding gratitude that is all through the grace of his Creator, that it is all coming together. And that is the beautiful complement of great coaching, a great client, and someone who is responding to the pull of destiny inside his soul. Between this podcast coming out live and my next one, you should have access to the Audible. And I'm going to talk more in depth in the next podcast episode about DeVon's expression of his trajectory from his breakthrough to his breakout and being true. We'll see you on the next podcast. This is Coach Mo Fall. If you're interested in my work, I've got a new thing to tell you about. mofall.com/Mobi, M-O-B-I. It is my new automated coaching bot. You can have me in the palm of your hand in your phone 24/7, and you can get coached through insights, inspiration, and specific strategies. You can even ask Mobi to put a script together for a conversation you need to have with a boss or with your teenager. It's an amazing new tool that we just put out there, mofall.com/Mobi. Check it out, and you can have easy access at the price of $9 a day. You can have a coach with you all the time. We'll see you on the next podcast episode. This is Coach Mo Fall. And again, if you want to access all that I've got, all the goodies and all the great coaching I've had for the past decade, it's available through a beautiful AI bot called Mobi, mofall.com/Mobi. And we'll catch you up on the next episode of Soul Powered Revolution, talking at the next level about DeVon Franklin's exciting chapter that he created through powerful soul powered coaching. We'll see you on the next episode. This is Coach Mo.